In fiction, war has traditionally been associated with action and drama. From Saving Private Ryan to Call of Duty, many war stories tend to be a blend of patriotic adventures and commentary on the endurance of the human spirit. While there's nothing wrong with this kind of tale, in real life, the most common element present in both sides of all wars has always been absolute terror. Because of this, it's no surprise that the creators of the world's first major FPS franchise couldn't help but be influenced by the horror genre, and B-movies in general, as they crafted one of the most iconic gaming experiences of all time. Naturally, I'm referring to Wolfenstein. While the horror influences on this franchise may not be as obvious as ID Software's other massively popular FPS series, Doom, the Wolfenstein games have been borrowing from horror films, and other media, for decades now, and I think that it's time to discuss how a few terrifying elements helped to shape such an iconic action franchise. Some of you might assume that this story begins with Wolfenstein 3D, but the roots of ID Software's iconic creation actually lie in Muse Software's 1981 release, Castle Wolfenstein, a primitive third-person stealth title that would lay the groundwork for what would later become a gaming heavyweight. While this innovative title would draw inspiration from several action arcade games and more films like The Guns of Navarone and Where Eagles Dare, the setting was actually based on the real-life Castle Wewelsburg, Heinrich Himmler's base of operations for occult studies within Germany's SS. It doesn't get much more horrific than that. Impressive visuals? In retrospect, Castle Wolfenstein and its 1984 sequel, Beyond Castle Wolfenstein, actually feel a lot like down-to-earth prototypes of the early Metal Gear titles. In fact, tactical espionage action might just be the best way to describe the admittedly janky gameplay here, as the protagonist must sneak and disguise himself through Nazi-occupied territory, only resorting to violence when absolutely necessary. While they can't boast the same adrenaline-pumping shootouts present in later entries, these two games introduced concepts that would help keep the franchise fresh even in the next millennia. From labyrinthian architecture to hidden traps and backstabbing Nazis, the original Castle Wolfenstein games were still pretty intense despite their lack of zombies, dark magic or robotic monstrosities. It's a bit difficult to replay these games nowadays due to questionable controls and limited graphics, but some of the stealth mechanics would actually be revisited in more recent titles, so these early games remain an important part of Wolfenstein's history.